Good afternoon. My name is Ron Sorrell from RJR Innovations. Today, I'm hosting the first of a four-part series of webinars to help you plan your migration strategy from your current product, Service Desk Express. The following three parts will take place in each of the following Tuesdays, but will also be available for download individually. Today's webinar is to talk generally about tips and tricks on selecting the right solution to help you make a decision about the path you should have to take in the near future. Today is the first part of a four-part webinar series to look over and discuss your migration strategies from your current product, Service Desk Express, to the next tool set depending on what your requirements are in the near future. Each successive webinar will take place in each following Tuesday, each looking at a different product and choices that you can make to go forward. If you wish to join these other webinars, please use the link below on the current slide so you can register them. And in the future, they'll also be available for download as well. My name is Ron Sorrell, and I'm Vice President and CSO for RJR Innovations. I've been working with the Service Desk product line for almost 20 years now. So I have a good idea what your pains, your needs, your requirements will be going forward. Today, we're going to explore all your options as you attempt to plan your migration requirements to go from SDE or perhaps other products. And I'm going to try to give you all the things you need to think about to help choose the right product, or maybe at least narrow down your choices so you understand what you should think about in moving forward. The first thing to consider is don't panic. Anybody who watches Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or their books will understand what that means. Yes, the product was announced end of life in 2012. And yes, the end comes this December 2017. So don't panic, but be concerned. Well, a couple of years ago, it seemed like it was a faraway place. Now we're within months, and a choice, if you want to be properly taken care of and covered and feel that safety of mind for your corporation, for your management, that you are got a proper safety net below you, some choices do have to be made, and fairly soon. Now the question comes, why should you be concerned? Well, one of the first things that really impacts you is going to be technology changes. As things go forward, hardware changes, software changes, and so on. So things that could affect, that really forces you to maybe move forward and have to force you to make that decision. Server upgrades. So you were in-house, you may be required to go to different versions of OS. It could be the operating system, it could be the database server. And SDE and perhaps other products you're using may not be supported on. Let's, for example, if you have to suddenly decide corporately that you have you need to go SQL 2016, you will not be able to run SDE on that product platform. You may decide to go to Windows, operating system later. It might affect your IS. You cannot go to later versions. As you go forward, you may run into browser compatibilities. Maybe when you go, things won't work quite as well as on Microsoft Edge. IE8 may disappear, I9 may disappear, you won't be even allowed to use I10. Maybe the compatibility mode will no longer work. If you look at products like Chrome, they're updated almost on a daily basis. So Microsoft even itself has taken on more of that upgrade as they do patches all the time. And security issues have become a concern. So as peripheral products are used to support SDE, such as Flash, they're no longer being supported by Adobe. No longer getting security patches. Or you have to use the JRE engine on a server, Java Runtime engine. The versions, you can't upgrade possibly to a later version. So you may be running issues where there identify security problems, but you can no longer patch or update those. You're going to have a very unhappy infrastructure team if you're telling them that you can't, if you're move to a later version and they're concerned about security. Even product obsolescence. So I mentioned Flash. Silverlight is no longer being really pushed much by Microsoft. JRE is, again, maybe disappeared in your future. So as products change and no longer supported, you can be left behind with things that may not even work in the future. Other reasons not to move forward is loss of financial incentives. So example, BMC has a great migration package to get you in a migration path from SDE to footprints if that's the right choice for you. Very good incentives. But once the product is no longer supported, you're not going to be able to get those incentives anymore. So you may find yourself a loss of good, your investment will not be worth as tomorrow or in a year from now as it's worth today. Even you may be affected by corporate strategy changes. So are you moving to cloud? Are you moving away from cloud? What's going on? Are you allowed to have your data stored in another country? These will also impact things that could affect your current use of any products today. Maybe you're going to do higher later process changes as idle, other things. You're even just documenting your processes, or there's change in what your company's doing. You have mergers and breakups, and just term that's new management decided we're going to do things differently. We're going to change our processes, and you don't want to be putting a lot of effort in a product that may no longer exist. It's better off, maybe it's time to start fresh with a new product so you can invest and then spend time in creating those new processes. As things change, your users, from their usage of the world going forward, they actually have higher expectations than they had from the generation 10 years ago, 20 years ago, even those old guys from 40 years ago. So the old AK millennials, they see the internet and the web and so on and much differently than ourselves that we've been using this around for 20 years. If you look at the way Google and eBay and data search types work there, single-click Amazon, their thinking and usage and their sense of how the internet works is much differently than the way SDE was written back 10, 20, 15 years ago. They expect more automation. They expect better services. They do expect more, and it's up to us to try to stay up to speed and stay with them, because we want to make the best user experience possible for the people that you support and service. The longer you hang on to these products, you face a real loss of expertise for many different reasons. People move to other projects. People are retiring. I have some people who have been working on supporting this product as long as I've been working on it, 20 years. Well, a lot of these people may be retiring in a year or two. It can be very expensive to retrain if you can find a way to retrain them. And you're going to find as a product either limited support or even non-existent. That's the life of product going end of life, which is going to happen. I'll reiterate that date again, come December 2017, there is no product support from BMC in any fashion for Service Desk Express. So it comes down to question, where are you today? It seems like a simple question. So it's where are you today, and where do you want to be tomorrow? Now, just that simple couple of lines there really opens up a large gap in the thought processes. So in some ways, to think about where you are today, this may be something that's more accurately represents your current situation. A house of cards, just layers of things built on top of each other. It kind of works, but as you try to improve it or add more to it, it just gets more complex, and as something breaks or needs to be replaced, you don't know where to start. It's almost next to impossible to fix your current stuff because it's just something built on top of each other. And you may find that the only way to move forward is a true rip and start over. Maybe this even represents your company. This is, confusing. I already have like a massive confusion about what you're looking at. So hopefully down the road, if your Google or Tesla self-driving car, I'm not sure they do this point. When you hit certain parts, your users, your staff, your support people, they have contradictory processes, contradictory policies, contradictory, this is the time to start rethinking things. And maybe, is your tool enabling this process, or is it actually making it worse? With any luck, everybody's on the same page. If not today, this is where you want to be tomorrow. Everybody hopefully finds their Waldo, because then we're all in agreement. And this, in a sense, where you want to be tomorrow. This is the whole idea. And to get there, you do need a clear vision. To get there, define that clear vision. What are your goals? Anytime you can document your process in clear language and easy to look at, it's going to make any migration easier. If you have a bad process in place, a bad process is a bad process. It doesn't matter what the tool is. A tool does not magically make a bad process good, and it does not make a good process bad. All your processes, as much as possible, want to be documented before tools even considered. That helps in the long run, at least picking on the core features and core functionalities. Now, I guess with that in mind is the gist of this whole webinar is like, what should you consider to help you move forward in your choice? So one of the first things you have to decide is the strategy choice of cloud versus on-premise. There's lots of pressure these days to move things toward the cloud. Now, a cloud-based help desk requires less upfront capital, and in many cases can be deployed quicker. And because you're not the one maintaining the actual software, the upgrades should be easier because normally they're handled by the vendor or your support people, and they can still provide some scalability despite the fact you're in the cloud. Now, some people have security concerns that may limit their ability to implement a cloud solution. For example, we have many government agencies in Canada that do not like their data to be held in the U.S. We have to guarantee that data centers and so on are in Canada, and then vice versa are probably just as well. You want to look for a tool that has a robust feature set. So now, many of the help desk, service desk software take a dizzying array of features and functions. But the thing is, what are some of these features and functions that are important? So some pointers that might help you find the one with the right feature set. You need to analyze the gaps in your current IT support. Very important. What is it you're doing that you're not doing now that you feel like that's important for your client base to do? Really have to get down and identify the core IT service management processes that you want to implement in the short, medium, and long term. Do not try to tackle all this at once. That's to be too much for your staff and your end users to handle at once. Start with the important stuff, get that worked out, make adjustment changes, and then get ready to move forward to the next planned processes. Also, it's very important, and sometimes you can argue it's really the first thing, is look at what the reporting and metric requirements that your management had determined that's important to them. What do they want to track and know about? So you can only report on what's collected. If you don't find out from management what they want to track, then you cannot report on it. Look at your IT service management process and prioritize and sort the critical ones. Maybe look at the ability where you're going forward as you move forward. So what can it do with real-time dashboards? What are your mobility options this tool may have? What social enablement requirements you have? Do you have to interact with Twitter? Do you have to interact with chat? How easy or requirements are to work with other app development platforms? Anything that might help your organization have a winning edge. Does your tool have a good track record with best practices? For those familiar with it, does it support ITIL? Is your service desk processes, do you have already know about what you need for ticket routing? Do you know what you need for follow-up, escalation, red flag management? All the things to consider about that you need your tool. They want to handle those types of things. You have to look at how you can communicate between your IT staff and users. As a tool, how well does it facilitate that communication from either IT to IT staff or back and forth between your end users? SLA is something extremely important. I don't know how much you look at your service level management or service level agreements, but part of that is to make sure that you report on your key indicators. And finally, what have you determined for workflows? What do you have for your workflows or incidents? What do you have for problem change? Are you is it pen and paper still? Do you really do that kind of work? Do you kind of do it that, by a pass around form? Now it's time to automate this. And what comes really important with the problem, change, and perhaps release management is asset management. It is a very key component of a good, well-developed, matured service desk. And part of that is determine who is going to be responsible for tracking your assets. Are you going to need to integrate that with your change, problem, incident management? Now, a key thing comes up is a classic comparison of configuration versus customization. What is a customization? What is a configuration? So if I had explained it in the short term, basically a customization is a feature extension or some modification of a software that requires customization coding or some form of implementation. It might include third-party requirements. A configuration is when you're using the out-of-box native tools to change its behavior or its features. So if I look at these two cars, the first one, that's a configuration. Yes, you can buy that car, and yes, you can have different options, but it all work within, I want this different type of radio, I want standard versus automatic, I want 6 speakers versus 4 speakers, I want a sunroof, I want a moonroof, I want, whatever you think you need, but you're still working within the same car, and it basically works and functions the same way. The second one, there's your classic over customization. Yeah, sure, it's got a more powerful engine. Yeah, it sure does all this great nifty stuff, but forget trying to repair that thing. And, if you ever decide you want to upgrade that one or trade it in, it's not going to go too well. Part of the thing is that on a configuration, any technician is certified and trained can actually help fix and maintain your vehicle. Customization, if you go too far with it, you get a very limited subset of people can actually solve your problems or help fix it going forward without adding a very high additional cost. So the total cost of ownership for any customizations is far greater than that stock or configured car. And the other thing to look at is, for some groups of people, is regulatory compliance. When it pictures a configured vehicle, it basically comes with a guarantee that's compliant with all governing bodies. So if you take a vehicle, crash safety, EPA emissions, and others. Now, can you imagine the cost and the time it takes to get these regulatory compliance certifications for your own custom car? So that goes through even a service desk tool. What is already out of the box that supports lessons learned? you don't want to have to build your own best practices. The tool can start you out of the running gate with the best practices template already set for yourself. Another key component that you want to look for is integration. How well does your product integrate with other tools? So you want your service desk software to interact as much seamlessly as possible and complement other applications in the environment through potential APIs, existing APIs. So you have to look at, as you're choosing what way you want to go, is what other systems you need integration with. You know, for most of you who have SDE, you've probably used SDE Integration Engine, and you know, you liked and learned to live that flexibility you had. You know, do you have to interact with internal payroll systems? Do you have to interact with other external systems? Are you integrating with network monitoring tools, other asset management systems, and so on and so on? And even for BMC, you know, and it's still in beta, so I'm sort of pre-announcing this, they have a new product, which you can actually try for yourself, a new integration product called Panama. Now, it's in beta right now, but is available for trial use. If you got any questions about that, we'll be more than happy to answer them, and you can reach out to us directly at RGR Innovations. But the idea of this product was to help the non-IT person put in place a workflow connector between different systems, even between two non-BMC products, which is interesting. So that'll something be definitely on a future webinar, RGR webinar, but I thought I'd bring up now to show that BMC does listen to its clients. It is trying to make life easier and trying to make it so that your business analysts can be used to help configure the system. So that kind of goes hand in hand. The next point is your vendor credibility and your partner credibility. So it's not just your vendor, it's your partner. Obviously, RGR is a partner. You want to look at the company that's creating these products. What's the reputation, their size? How many years have they been in business? Is they new out of the block? Look at your analyst reports like Gartner. See where the vendor comes within that Gartner landscape, the Magic Quadrant. Look for feedback with the vendor or partner from other organizations that may have already used these products and their services. You know, here we can provide some case studies, customer testimonials, and even, you know, get some direct customer interactions if that's you think it's important for you to decide to move forward. Other thing to take note is, you know, what's the pricing models been? Are the pricing models becoming more complex or becoming simpler? You know, and it's really important to see that sort of history, because many times new vendors come into the market and they make things, wow, we're really less expensive and simple. But as time goes on, as they realize that maybe they undersold themselves, now they start pushing up the money to make up for the shortfalls. And this is really tough in the subscription model when you're paying every year, when you're at the mercy of the company start raising prices on you because you're in a subscription model. And one thing with subscription, if you stop paying, you stop having access to the software. If you buy the product on premise, you can keep using the product, and especially if you keep paying maintenance and get support on it. Now, in this little graphic here, this is pretty much a sort of a grid of the different product choices. So along the top, you have three different types of strategies: on-premise, public cloud, or RGR hosted. We will also provide a hosted solution even for products that normally are not hosted. So for example, footprints, we'll host that for you. So whether you're a current footprints customer, you're going to be a new footprints customer, we'll host that for you. Now, as far as product choices are, this list sort of represents what's coming in the next 3 webinars. Some of these will combine together in one webinar. So yes, we sell footprints, but we also sell the RGR Footprints ITSM database that comes with footprints. So something that's ready to go right out of the box with all sorts of pre-built modules, whether it's change, release, purchasing. We do have a purchasing model built into our footprints database. It'll save you lots of time consulting, and it's ready to go. We'll also host that for you. Another option for people who wish to go cloud but stay in that small to mid-size kind of tool set is Remedyforce, built on the Salesforce platform. So it's available as a public cloud, but it is only located in the US. So that's something to be considered there for our Canadian customers. There's the Remedy ITSM. Now, two choices are it can be on-premise or RGR hosted, but to go along with that is a Remedy on demand. Basically, it's the same product platform, but Remedy on demand is actually controlled by BMC at their site. And they give you the ability to flip-flop. So if you decide you're Remedy on demand and after 3 years you decide, you know what, I want my own hosted, my own internal hosted on-premise, your database can and will be sent to you to redo on your hosted site, or vice versa. There's not too many other vendors that give you that option, especially go from cloud back to on-premise. And RGR also has a Remedy CRM. So for people who want a pre-built database that has all the CRM functions like opportunities, purchasing, quoting, customer tracking, we have that option as well. Again, we'll also host that. So it's built upon the Remedy ITSM database platform, but we have our own custom database. So what now? RGR and myself especially have been working hard to present to you the best migration paths. We've taken the time and effort to not only map out multiple viable migration plans, but have also brought in the proper professional and technical resources to lead you in this process. We are now fully equipped and prepared to present these exciting paths and see what the future looks like going forward. The time is now. You must get it going now in your project planning, your budget planning. Yes, you can't migrate tomorrow, but if you want to migrate 6 months from now, a year from now, you have to begin the planning process. You have to start looking at your choices. You have to start putting in place what you're going to do. But while change always brings uncertainties to your work environment, change is also an opportunity to improve. With so many rapid advancements in technology, this migration was inevitable. But we can only be excited for what new added features and the ease that these products will bring to your workplace. You can trust that RGR and our experts will guide you along the path to bring your current infrastructure together in the best possible way. Now, I hope this webinar is found informative, and I hope you'll join us over the next 3 weeks to get more in-depth discussions of the various toolset selections. I want to thank you for your time today, and I look forward to working with you in the future. If you have any further questions, I can reach directly at this number or at the addresses below. Thank you and have a good day.